If you're right hand, your left foot will be forward. If you're left hand, your right foot will be forward. We're going to take it out of a left lead stance. So to start with our 2 feet together, we're going to make an L shape with our feet. So we're going to drop back our right foot straight back, and we're going to go over about 6, 8, 10 inches depending on your height. Okay? To where we're a little bit more than shoulder width distance apart. You want to think maybe shoulder width and then add about 3 to 4 to 5 inches. If your feet are too narrow or too wide, it's going to affect your good balance, your base, which is important for not only the power on your striking, but also your mobility and your agility. So we want to be a little bit more than shoulder width distance apart. From here, with our foot position, we're just going to angle this front foot in from a 12 o'clock position to start with to about 12:30 to 1 o'clock position. On your back foot, if your foot's facing straight ahead, you're going to turn to about a 1 to 2 o'clock position. If your feet are straight ahead, straight forward like this, it's going to affect your lateral balance and movement, left and right, also the power on any one of your strikes. So we want to turn these feet, this foot inward and this foot a little bit outward. 12:30, 1 o'clock in the front, 1 to 2 on the back foot. With your rear heel, you're going to lift it off the ground about 1/4 of an inch. We want to be on the balls of our feet at any time, in any sport, but especially combat sports. It's going to help not only our base and our balance, but our movement, our elusiveness. And so the rear heel about 1/4 of an inch to a 1/2 inch off the ground. To our knees, as we work our way up our body, your knees are going to have a slight bend in both knees. This will help keep a good, strong base for not only your balance, but your movement. This will allow you to punch harder, kick harder, knee harder, or elbow harder. So a good, solid base by a slight bend in both your knees. As we work our way up to our midsection, our torso, we're going to turn our chest so our chest will be facing towards our opponent, as opposed to maybe more your shoulder, which is more of a boxing style. So we're going to open our chest up a little bit more, facing straight ahead to where our opponent would be. Yet our shoulder will still turn in a little bit to help protect this side of our chin. Your hand position, with your right hand, your rear hand. You're going to lightly clench fist, and you're going to put it up on your temple. And by putting this hand up here, you're going to protect the vital target areas on your head, to where if you potentially got hit there, you can be knocked out. That'll be your temple, behind the ear, the side of your neck, or the button on the side of your chin. Even if you get hit on the ear, it's going to affect your equilibrium, enough to affect your balance. So we want to protect all those vital target areas. Your elbow and your forearm are going to be tight to your body, protecting the vital targets areas down here in your body, which would be your liver and the kidney in your back, or the bottom floating rib. Get hit in either one of these organs, it's going to lighten or weaken your legs. Typically you would fall to the ground, or at least you're going to lose some of your balance. Get hit hard enough in this bottom or floating rib to where it's cracked or broken, it's going to make it extremely hard for you to breathe. The fight's typically going to be over. So we want to protect. We're going to build this wall on the side of our body and our head to protect all those vital target areas. With your lead hand, in this case your left hand, you want to start with about a 90-degree angle inside the well of your elbow. By having it here, it's going to allow us to work our defense and offense productively just as the same. If my hand's a little bit too far out in front, it's a little bit harder for me to have the timing down for defense. Plus, I'm not going to get as much behind my lead hand jab or my lead hand punches. If my hand's too far back, this is a total defensive stance. So you really have no offense off this, or your offense isn't going to be as quick. This is really just defense. So we want to right in between so we can work our offense and our defense. From looking at it from in front, I want my left hand to start right in front of my left eye. And I want to think that my left eye is going to look right over top of my knuckles. If my hand's too high, my wrist and my forearm is going to distort or block my vision. If my hand's too low, it's going to expose my head too much. And in MMA, with smaller gloves, the margin for error is very minimal. So if my hands are too low, it's going to open up my head. So we want to get our hands up to where my left eye is right over top of my left knuckle. From here, you want to move your left hand slightly to the left, so if you brought it back towards your head, it would scrape your ear. Your mindset now would be that your head is between your hands. If my lead hand's out in front of my face, it's going to affect my vision, distract my vision, block my vision. So I want to take this off the center line, to the just off of my ear, so my head can look right down through this window between my hands, so I can see my opponent. So your head is between your hands. The last part of the stance, I'm going to tuck my chin into my throat, these two knobs on top of your chest plate. Tuck my chin there, this is to protect the two vital target areas on the center of my face, which would be the button on the front of my chin and the base of my nose. Two potential knockout targets. So I'm leading with my forehead. You want to think that you're looking out through your eyebrows at your opponent, which should be right in front of you. And this is your basic MMA stance. Some other combat stances, so you kind of understand all of them. But it's a little bit more of a closed stance, where my lead heel or my lead toe would be aligned with my rear heel. This is more of a Western boxing stance. My hands are up, my shoulder will be turned in a little bit more. Or I could be in this position, or this position. Also, this is a good wrestling, shooting stance, or just a pure wrestling stance. Protected here, I got this toe to heel position. If I open my stance up a little bit more to now where my lead heel is in line with my rear toes, it's a very open stance. This is a good Muay Thai, traditional Muay Thai stance. Good for quicker knees, kicks, and elbows, also better for kicking defense. Okay? So this would be your Muay Thai stance. If I open it up even more until I'm squared up with my opponent, this is a squared up stance for your good wrestling defense. So I'm down here in my wrestling defense protected against any kind of a shot. Okay? So that's why we're taking a right in between. We call it a moderately open stance. Okay? So we're right in between these closed stances, more of your boxing and your wrestling, or an open stance, your Thai, or your wrestling defense stance, right in between. So as your game develops and you evolve and you get more experience, everybody's going to develop their own game, so they're going to have their own stance and what they're most comfortable with. So they might choose to close it up a little bit more, open it up a little bit more, but this moderately open stance is a good way to start for your MMA training.